Shalom. Thank Torah anytime. Kavish Kocha Prati Yiskel Aloshin. Rabbi Yosef Yafi. Now, first of all, the 9 days that Neisirot and Godel B'Neir. I kind of been a hapachu, and you know, Purim is connected. I'm always connecting Purim with all occasions. That's the way I think. That's my mahalach. Why? Because Mishenichnas of Maitim Simcha. But it's all Simcha. There's that much Simcha, less Simcha, but it's a Simcha situation. With those Jews, it's all Simcha, more or less. How's that? It's all Simcha. But listen to this. Just like by Purim that the evil becomes good. Haman's hanging, and Mordechai's got he's the Mishnah Lamelech, and we made him a hapachu. We turned around the whole thing, and all the game to try to kill us, we're getting them. Beautiful stuff coming up. Look at this, what we have, not Shire. And wow, this push. Now, so just like Kol HaMesabel Yerushalayim Zay Chavrei B'Simchasa. Whoever is Mesabel in Yerushalayim, this is an opportunity to be dancing in the streets of Jerusalem. Oh, it's over there, it's a pasuk over there. Then the Makis, Yeshu, Zekanim, they're going to be sitting together and knocking and laughing and joking and singing to the Rabbeinu Shalom. The Gula Shalema. This is Gula Shalema country. Now's your opportunity to have a blast. It's just like Purim. Purim works for the hapachu. The bad turns into good here also. We're here, call them masabel, so be masabel, so you'll have fun. It's only a stepping stone for fun. The whole Yiddishkeit, when you do a sin, don't get so stressed out. It's just a stepping stone to tshuva. What's the problem? You'll do tshuva, and that sin will turn into a mitzvah. Good, don't do it again. But once you did it, the whole Yiddishkeit is full of that. You read the L'tzarech Aliyah, when you gotta go dives. First you go down, the more you go down, the bigger the dive, the more you go flying. The whole Yiddishkeit is you read the L'tzarech Aliyah. Everything's like that. Something bad happens, an opportunity to become great in Bטחון. Everything is positive, positive. This is a positive 9 days. Wow. This, and by the way, who made up Eicha? Who made Eicha? That was Yirmiyah Navi. You don't write Eicha unless you have Ruach HaKodesh. You don't get Ruach HaKodesh unless you have a tremendous amount of Simcha. So this is all Simcha. All more Simcha than we ever had. You can't write Eicha. You can't write unless there's Simcha. A lot of it. Simcha that we don't even chop what it's all about. Now you can start crying. So I want to tie we're going to do it. But first let's do part one. Let's get the Simcha moving. And then, so I might be stuck with the Simcha for all 9 days. Because to get to Madrega, like I told Rav Schlesinger, he loved it. I says, it says in Bטחון, in Sha'ar K'niyah, it says, in order to get to be an Anav, first you have to be a Baal Gaivanik. You know, Rabbi Yerucham speaks about it this week's parsha, and he says, Moshe Rabbeinu twice he's storming Vayitzei Moshe Rishach. He's screaming at them. What did you do? And then he tells off the Rosh Hashanah, why did you, then he starts telling off the B'nai Gad, B'nai Ruvain, what do you think you're doing? You're like the Meraglim. Twice, we have him firing away. There was a shtickle taina, but Rabbi Yeruchel's not so spell. Look at his style. What happened to Adam Mikol Adam? What happened to him? There we are, we're ending up, this is the last part of his life yet. He's hitting the peak of the highest madrega he ever had, and there he is, storming away. Okay, here's the last battle, and afterwards you're going to be nifta. So the last thing, right after the battle, he knocks him but good. That's the way you nifta. You know the way David HaMelech was nifta? The last thing he said was, kill Shimi ben Geda. Kill Yoav. You ever see that? That's the way you nifta? What's going on here? Give it to him. You know, David was also big on him. He's the one who said, Talas ani v'lo yish. I'm a worm. I'm not a human. What happened to that worm? That's the way, on your deathbed. He has 3 requests. Barzillai, he's good. Yoav ben Tzuriah, let him have it. Don't let him go. Don't let him be nifta or normal death. He said that on Shimi ben Geda. Two great people. Got to get those 2. And then he was nifta. What's going on? That's the way you nifta. So, and the Rabbi Yerucham, Tainas, it's like Gaius. It's like Gaius. It's being angry at everything, storming and demanding what's going on here. What happened to the Adam Mikol Adam? And he says, most Anovim don't know what it's all about. Most Anovim are Behemodik and Mahalach. I'm going to defend them, by the way, because most of us have a lot of that stuff. So I got it. Rabbi Yerucham was speaking to an Olam he's a little before us. So I got to be careful when I'm going to puzzle up the whole world. Not so fair. I can't do that. The Dar is not ready to hear that. I'm going to defend all the Anovim who are doing it wrong, whom Rabbi Yerucham compares to behemoths, and he didn't make that up either, because it's all mafurish in the Chavos Havavos. Chavos says if you're like this Anav who doesn't know your value, you're similar to the animals. It's shiftless habahamis. It's not the real thing. It's shiftless. It's a nabachal. You know, you're out of it. Animals don't fend for themselves. They're animals. They're behemoths. You don't know if they're coming or going. A human being, when he wants to embark on the midah of anova, first know your value. Chavos Havavos screams about it. And Rabbi Yerucham brings down how most people don't do that. Most people, so I don't want to, that was for his door. That it's true, we realize, but that's the fact. They're all doing it, so I'm going to stick up for all of them, and I'm going to say, Leib Nishpab and Nitke, Elikim, like said, Ein Achinami, you're doing it wrong. But that pain that you're doing it wrong is machapa and everything. The ending. I will not put our door, you're going to hear the sharp Musa, not for us. You want to kill him? It's because Navish. You don't do that to people these days. You don't knock them with old Musa stuff, but it's true. It's true that B'chai don't walk away after a shmooze like you're ready to creep into a hole. Then you need a new Rebbe. Well, you got to interpret it. You know, I'm reading about big people. You see, so I'm saying it. I'm talking about Anova. About you may have to be busy with your guy. I told us Reb Schlesinger. I said I'm involved in Anova. When I go around all day saying, I mentioned somebody. You know, I'm the Balgaivanik of Gans Lakewood. And the guy laughed. I'm quite aware of that. Most people tell me that, yes, we realize that you're one of those. Like, they look at me like, I don't know how they look at me. But if they're not going to do it, they're not going to stay. I don't know if they have to do it exactly the way I do it. But I have some people who are mashamish me. They run after me to get shimush. And they tell me, Mendel, I want to be like you, but I'm going to have my own mahala. So you're invited. Everybody has his own twist. Yeah, no two people are alike. But that gaiva is number one. You got to get there. So I told her, Schlesinger, I'm into Anova. I'm just step one of Anova. And step one is know who you are. And I may have to sit there for the rest of my life because I don't know if I'm going to be ready for step two so soon. I always taina. There are certain parts of Anova you have to address immediately. Even whether you're doing it right, whether you're balgaivanik first or not, you can't get angry, and you can't, and you got to give in. Those two. You can't be an action. You know, there's certain parts of gaiva that's too much. But there's a lot of certain parts of anava that we must have. You have to learn how to give in, and you have to give in to a situation, and you have to not have to have your way. There's a lot of things that we need to address, even though we're not working on another. But you're not going nowhere if you're going to be, I'm working on, Rabbi Mendel said, Vayi. Therefore, he tells his wife, you're wrong. Rabbi Mendel's on my side. My wife is wrong. Now, you didn't hear me. I gave a different schmooze about how to deal with your wife. She's always right. No ladies, you're allowed to hear that. Ladies, please, I don't want you to hear that. It's not good for you. You know, I like a Shalom Urusli Breslama. We put out 2 Sfarim on Shalom Bayis. One is called for men only, and one is called for ladies only. And it's also to look in the other one's thing, or else you'll kill your Shalom Bayis. Wait till you find out what your wife is supposed to do for you. You're finished. Wait till she finds out what men are supposed to be. You're dead. Well, I once bought these 2 for a couple that was fighting cats and dogs. So I bought them. I bought one for him, one for her. So she went ahead and read all the stuff that how a man's supposed to behave, and he read all the stuff what a lady's supposed to do, and the war just began. I was joking. It's true that I bought a couple, but they didn't do that really. But l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakom v'rei. I did hear a story that this guy went to a lecture, Shalom Bayis lecture, and the Shalom Bayis problems began after that lecture. I'm curious, what did they say over there? You got to watch what you're listening to. You know that the Paisik Adar, I want to see who it was, way back. 2 people listened to him. I know the 2 people. I looked. They put out Sfarim. He's the Paisik from way back. Again, they both heard 2 opposite things on the same. You know that? You know that? I read that they put out books on a certain subject. I don't want to say. They're both sitting and both heard 2 different things. You know, he said, it's one thing. Whenever you go for an eitzah to a gadol, bring someone along to find out what he really said. Because you're going to hear what you want to hear. People are human. Well, I heard Mefurish. Even he says I'm right. He said just the opposite, but he just hinted a little bit that even you could be right once in a while, and that's all you heard. And then you walk away, tell your wife, even he says, okay, anyway. So so what was I saying? So before you start getting involved in Eicha, you got to know he had Ruach HaKodesh when he wrote it. The Breslov Chassidim talk about pouring your heart out to the Eibishter. They say first fill up a lot of time with thankfulness, with simcha, then you can kvetch. But if all you're going to do is kvetch, again, the biggest mitzvah, cry for the Churban. I mean, it ain't going to kill nobody. Biggest mitzvah in the world. But there are people who are not ready. And Pekuach Nefesh is doicha kol haTorah kula. The Spring Hill is half full of. Look at this. Look what's coming out. Rabbi, look at this. Perspective, B'tachon perspective, adapted from a life with the B'tachon. Look at this. Putting out beautiful stuff. Take it, Rabbi say. No, Take, Rabbi say, it's all Spring Hill. Look at this. You know what this is? Spring Hill stuff. The Olam loves it. I saw 2 young alike in Kel Shimshon discussing this. They loved it so much. And there was a shaila of making a Birkas Hanenan on it. The shaila is which bracha. That was the only machlokes. But they both held. Look at this. It's just, you can eat it up. Just beautiful stuff. This is Rabbi Galambek's. It's Nerdavoyim. Look how beautiful. Out of pictures. How could you not read it? It's the most popular up and coming. It's not Shayach. Not Shayach. Rabbi Galambek, he has a whole Chassidus. Oh, by the way, I want to mention, we'll talk about it. So, anyway. Chaim Tevin Shalom, Rosh Chodesh, Menachem Av, Eis Rotzen, Garla V'Neira. This is the time that you can start dancing in Yerushalayim. Because kol mesabel, zechavei v'simchasa. So be mesabel. And also this is the time of getting Ruach HaKodesh, because Yirmiyah wrote Eicha with Ruach HaKodesh, that's Simcha. So let's try to be a little bit that mahalach. You know what the Mashkiach said about Yirmiyah Navi? The Eibishter told him, Al toima naro noichi. He said, "No, what do you want from me? I'm a kid." The Eibishter got a hold of him before he was born. The Terem, forgot the lashon of the pasuk. The Terem Yitzor, the Eibishter, he was destined to be a Navi from day one, and a Navi of the Churban Beis Hamikdash. He was not happy about it, but that's what the Eibishter wanted, and he didn't want to do it for a different reason. I'm a little kid. I'm going to stop being a Navi. They're going to throw things at me. You know what they did to him? They threw him in a pit, and Chizkiah and Tzidkiah Melech had to pull him out. Machlokes who pulled him out. Or Kushi, or Shvatzer. Who remembers this story? Some say that was Tzidkiah Melech was called. Shvatzer is Faket. It's Lashes Saginor, whatever. Pulled him out of it. They threw him in a pit. He sunk into some quicksand. I don't know what was it. Was what?
Clay.
I don't hear you. Clay. They let him have it. They threw rocks. What he went through? What happened to the Navi Zechariah? They stole him to death. A Navi's not a picnic. But he said, "I'm a kid." And the Eibishter said, "Don't say Al toima naro noichi." And the Mashkiach Rab Nosson used to scream about this. Don't say I can't do it. You can. Don't put yourself down. Well, I'm not really, I'm too shy. I'm too many Averas, too many. If Rabbi Mendel would only know what I do when nobody's looking. He would stop, but he said, well, you're talking different. You're talking be made. By me, he'll be made. No, this guy's really no hope for him. Rashkiah was screaming against that. And he didn't learn Slabotki either. This is Kelm. How did he get this ultimate out? Because you can't go without that. You're not going anywhere without that. He told me, have some more chutzpah, and I'm working at it. Chutzpah! Reb Tzadok HaKohen says chutzpah yazgei, and this dar chutzpah will be a good thing. You need it. Don't get carried away. Anyway, and the Vargas had plenty of chutzpah, don't you worry. Not a mice, I had 2 chutzpahdik maises. I wanted to come 2 chutzpahdik maises. Tell you, thanks to Navardok at the Levaya of Reb Shlomo, I advise everybody become Navardok. Join me. There's no better religion. And with Slabotki, you realize we need to combine. And of course, your own twist, which is more chashiv, but you can build. So there was at the Levaya, Reb Eliezer Kanarik, that's all my Rashiv from New Rochelle. The Mashkiach said on the way, there was no Rosh Yeshiva like Reb Kanarik from New Rochelle. Now I want to dedicate this for somebody in the Mishpacha needs a Yeshua. Give our mainstream Bakar Mamish totally Yeshua.
Amen.
I called him today. I got to do wonders. I want Nisim Gulim. No, I don't want this guy to have Peklok. Anyway, so what happened? So he said no Rosh Yeshiva was involved in Musa the way he was. He kept repeating it like a broken record. I was traveling for an hour and a half from Lakewood to the airport. I think it was the airport. I'm not sure. Yes. Anyway, so that's all he did. That's all he said. Anyway, how did he get into that? Who? Right. Who?
2 stories.
There you go. At his Levaya, I decided I'm going to do Navardok action. You know what I did? I went over to the Rosh Yeshiva and to someone on the staff whom I knew, and I said, you guys are going to need money tomorrow, you know that. The Levaya is over, and you're going to walk around climbing the walls. You realize what you're in for. Because he's gone, and now the money, you want me to get some money? You dare me? He said, go do it. I opened up my big mouth. Whoever wants to do something, Nishmas Rashiva, is Heilig and Neshama. Let's have some money right here. The guy gave $1,000. So I said this out to Prat to show Nobody is. You know what Rav Gershon did? I picked this up for Rav Gershon. Where Rav, what's his name? The Rosh Yeshiva, in Paris, Rav Rottenberg, the Rav of Paris. He was very close to Rav Gershon. When he was nifta, they were lowering him into the grave. I think Rav Gershon stopped the action. I think he went into the grave. I'm not sure. It sounds better like that. Said, no one's moving anywhere. I need money for the Russian Jews. They're going to Gehenna. He made $1 million. I'm not sure what happened there. We'll make up some whatever happened. I'm not sure. But that's Claw. He got up there and he fought on the Welt, Novhardok, and they got money. You know what he said when he was nifta? He said he was ready to take a plane on Shabbos to get money for Lakewood. He said, I'll open my big mouth there. Lakewood darf Geld. He was ready to Yeshua is me this. He was going for a different yeshiva, you know. That's he was worried about all Klal Yisrael, not just his own Nobhardok yeshiva. But he repeated it many times. How much? Alavaya chaparein. So I made 1,000 shine. Those days, it was not stam. And I got my pride. That's the yikah. I had another mice. I was in a meisid. I don't want to say what one, where, how, and who. I was in a meisid where I'm a rebbe for many years. And they had a whole, those days it wasn't like today. A guy could come in to teach us how to teach. You know, it wasn't like today. A guy comes in, but gets it, there was some as a snushim there a little bit from the English department. So something happened not appropriate. And the Elam was sitting there stunned. Nobody, because this guy is a guy. And he's from the Board of Education, and he's one of those, you know, one of those official guy who comes in with his, and I learned to paf him on, you know, Novhardok. So, what about the Eibishter? I'm more. So I said, I opened up my big mouth. Everybody was speechless. It was taka. What he did was inappropriate. He's a shegitz. What is he? Nebuch? No, it's not his fault, but he got it from me. I let him have it. I says, excuse me, sir, this is an Orthodox institution. Boom, it was over. How was the biggest Kiddush Hashem? Not being afraid of the shegitz by me was the best part of it. Later on, I heard that the shegitz, I almost killed him. I mean, he was so, Rachmanis on the guy, but you can't let the guy, you know, I didn't kill him. He's all right. But he didn't expect that, you know. So that was my Novhardok in public in front of 100 people. I opened my big mouth and I said, Shine, Novhardok is famous for that. I recommend Novhardok. You know what you can accomplish. You know what I did? I saved Rabusha. Where I went over in front of Kelsha, 100 guys davening there. Come inside, Rabbi Sai. How many? The last count? 9,000? Anyway, look, they're all coming in. Come inside. It's freezing here. We want to warm it up with some more people. I'll tell them. Anyway, this is good stuff, by the way. Mamish. It's a good simon. A good liquor is a simon tay. We're going to have this avelus. By the way, avelus is not atzvas. Get that straight. It's two dinim. Avelus has simcha. Avelus, whatever it is, it's not atzvas. So, since people aren't good at it, how to differentiate, so some people, be careful. I'm not the type that likes to play games with halachas. I do like extremism when you have midas involved. If you're one of these depressed, you're going on medication, and you're going to go to tishpab. Now look, it might, the tears that you cry for the korban might cure your depression. I hope that would be a great, I've heard this. I mean, I'm carrying it further. I've heard the one's going to kill you, cry for the once a year. It doesn't Shulchan Aruch. Kadai Beis Olikedo, not going to kill you, so you cry. But I tell you like this, make sure you cry loud. Cry loud. A prat. The schus of the prat will bring back Mashiach. The schus, you mavazi yourself, look up at Shemayim. I hold from it. Cry a little loud. So what? The guy next to you is going to... Cry. It's kedai. Show. You know, at Reb Chaim Moses's Levaya, Reb Gershon in Vilna, it's Yadu. Reb Gershon cried like crazy. The whole place heard him. Because Reb Chaim Moses was nifty, you know? If you're not going to cry, that's your problem. But you're a little bit funny. You're a little bit funny. Beis HaMikdash is gone. You're not crying your eyes out. What's with you? I heard from Mechoba Weissman Zatzal from Nitri Yeshiva. He was the one that stood up against those Yamach Sheminiks. He was at a Vardiga. I knew him. I was a little kid. And I used to go to Nitri Yeshiva. Was he at Tzadik Yisai Deilam? Was he special? He was a Malach Alikim, and he fought. He was begging the Americans, drop a bomb on top of Auschwitz Railroad. The railroad to Auschwitz. You know how many people are getting killed because they have this efficiency, those Yamach Sheminiks. When you shoot guys with guns, you just simply can't kill that many people. But they have, if you get them into Auschwitz, they had a whole system where you can knock off thousands every day like a joke. So the mass murder was going much more efficient because they got them to Auschwitz. Drop one bomb on the railroad and you'll save thousands of Jews. The Americans were Franklin Delano Roosevelt, whom all the Jews loved. They didn't chop who he really was. He was not an Oiv Yisrael, big time. Shem Yerachem. He was an anti-Semite himself. His wife, I don't think, was like that. But he was a Russia. So he ignored. And the Tzionim, that's why he was anti-Tzionim. He saw their colors. They had no feelings for the Jews in Europe. Anyway, when he cried, so he was begging, writing letters and telegrams. Please, drop a bomb. He was in Iliotzim. He mapped out, drop here and here, and it's an easy thing for you. It's a galachta, and you'll save thousands of lives. And then he kept begging and writing and doing. He must have saved at least 1,000 people himself. He was in an underground. And Hitler had a price on his head. And there were pictures of him in all the newspapers. You know that? He was a tzaddik Yisrael. He had to take off his beard. He was a riesige tzaddik, Choba Weissman, Nitri Yeshiva. Anyway, I heard him say Eicha. Like the Beis HaMikdash was just yesterday. The way he cried because he saw the Chorban. Now I would cry for the non-frum Jews. All those Jews, I don't care what anybody says. You know what the Nazi Holocaust was? Does anybody have any inkling? Do you know the Jews in Eretz Yisrael knew that the Holocaust heading their direction because the Germans were right outside the door ready to attack Eretz Yisrael. And they were, people were ready to jump off the roof. The reports they heard of the atrocities, Yamach Shemam, Amalek, when the Meraglim wanted to scare Klal Yisrael, they said Amalek B'Negev. You know what Amalek is? The cruelty. Melchama al Hashem Amalek. How can a Melchama Hashem to human beings? You know what Amalek is? That's the Germans. Shublei Diskin said that is Germany is Amalek. He was Mekabel from the Gru. It's them. They act nice on the outside. That's a symbol of Amalek. Oh, hello. How are you? You know they sent people to their deaths. Mengele Yamach Shemai Mashviga told me he was dressed, clean shaven. I think he had a mustache, whatever. A nice suit, polite, a gentleman, first class. Would you like to go that way? Yeah, yes. He smiled and played nice music. The Yidden didn't know what hit them. And they were going straight into Hashem Yerachim. A few minutes later, the smoke came up. And it was done. And that was his, it was fine. You know, a German, you know what they used to do? I don't want to say too much. But I remember it was Tishpeb, or this time of the year. Chaim Halpern was sitting down together with Reb Gershon. He was a Polish Jew. in Vasha. And he recalled every day a new Gezerah. What the day he went through, every day another Gezerah, what he went through with the Germans. He was a Maidanic. And he couldn't hear because of, you know what he used to do? Chaim Halpern, when you were talking to him, he pulled out his earplug, he says, "Get, let's hear." He's a Novandig, you know. He wasn't like, get one of those things that you can't tell. No. Couldn't hear it. Pulled out the earplug. Yeah. Let's hear. That's what he used to do. You know, Reb Gershom was on a swivel chair in front of a base Mendel. She used to swivel back and forth. He was on a wheelchair. He used to pick when they rolled, he picked his feet up. Like, yeah. They didn't, wheelchair. A lot of fun. Let's go. They were like, Vardigas, they smelled, they're looking, everything's covered. Doesn't pass, doesn't, everyone's worried about that stuff. Anyway, so what was I saying about the, and he cried, it was like yesterday it happened. That's what they say. That's the way you're supposed to cry. You're supposed to think of the Lechem HaPanim, think of the Shulchan, the Menorah, think of Kaihanim, how beautiful they were. Marakayin. Chazon Ish used to go wild when that part of the davening, more than other parts where everyone else goes Meshuggah. He went Meshuggah there. When that part in Yom Kippur, that part of davening would have looked like the Beis HaMikdash, you're supposed to have a longing. We want that. Now, call him a sabel. The more you masabel, the more simcha you're going to have. And Ramatas Yoza Homer Fushalima said, "Come inside, let's go." Inside, hey, I don't like this table. It's a new table. We're going to take out a leaf next time. No? We'll have more room for the chevra? What do you say? Table's no good. It blew it. No. No room for anybody. Anybody want to sit on the table? In a varna, everything goes. Come. Let's push this. Okay, I got to lose more weight. Anyway, so what was I saying? Come inside, Rabbi Sai. Listen closely. Listen to this. I'm going to tell you about. Listen to it. It's ashtik gold. Mandel's going to say about now. Don't ask. First of all, I was just on the phone with a parent of a boy who was suffering terribly in a mental hospital. And the mother told me, you know when it really got bad? As soon as the doctor labeled him, you have that label. Then it really skyrocketed. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I just heard it from the horse's mouth. You know what? They label you, you're finished. That's why I keep away from doctors. There was a stroke. I told you about the stroke kid. 7 or 5? One of the two. I forgot his age. What? I told you the story? Erev Shabbos, I'm called. A man calls me up. They hadn't called me for months. Suddenly, Rabbi Mendel, the son just had a stroke. A little bubby. Half his body is not working. I says, how do you know? The eye doesn't open. You can't move this, you can't move that. I say it's up. You just a hospital an hour away from Mlikewood. They called me an hour before Shabbos. It was just 2 months ago. They called me up. I say no stroke. All right, but you don't see. I know. That's an old story. He has no stroke. Don't give me a stroke. He's perfect. Give me the kid on the phone. Kid was all shaken up. Coming to the hospital causes all the problem. Babala, you do not have a stroke. Cut the baloney. And you happen to be a sweetie pie. I still don't know what he looks like. But he's a chazaka. A 7-year-old bubby is a bubby. And I'd like to eat you up. The kid burst out laughing. And I told the father, you get a kid to laugh, no more strokes. Once you laugh, the Vilna Gaon says, Ruach ish yichalka machaleu. You cheer, your body loves laughter. I made him laugh. Then I'll tell the father, I say no stroke. And I hold that every word I say is a live malach. Malachei rachamim are being created right now. I say no stroke, don't bother me. He's a normal sweetie pie. Come inside, Cabra. Now check him out. Look at his eye. He looked at his eye. He was perfect. You know what's going on? Now keep checking him. The whole body was normal. In a minute, Mandel, Dr. Mandel, you're going to the hospital. Dr. Mandel did the job over the phone without seeing the patient. I have the Abishta. I am in touch with him. I need to see the patient. I go straight to the shirt, to the Abishta. So I'm open your mouth wide. I'll fill it up. Have Amuna and Bטחון. I'll give you anything you want. And I take him up on that one. And I say, yes, Abishta, I want right now. Then I forbade. The parents didn't know what hit them. I said, go home. You're wasting your time. Get out of that hospital. It was an hour before Shabbos. I'm not to you to travel on Shabbos. Get out of the hospital. Don't make them sick. That's their line, to make a guy sick. Anyway, they stayed for another 2 days. But I'm going to stay. The doctor verified he did have, but the symptoms were over. You hit it? It's kalai haya. And I told the parents, keep talking about the kid. Oh, he looks great, doesn't he, Yankee? They kept doing it. I just got a call the other day. Back to normal. Anyway, how did I get into that? I don't know. But, what? The Mlikoud mental hospital. Oh, yeah. As soon as they told the kid, you have OCD, the condition worsened by the miles. You see, doctors, look, I'm not telling you not to go. I'm not getting involved. Some people, oh boy, someone got tinnitus on me. Rabbi Mendel, is it true you tell people not to go to the doctor? There are people who call me up. They're ready to ditch the whole thing. I say, you're going to the doctor. Very often I say, you're going. But you're not up to it. You're not Mendel. Or wherever it is. You didn't come to my VOD long enough. Hang around a little longer, then we'll talk. But you right away going to ditch up all the doctors. They're going to call Mendel names as if he cares. I don't care. I do care, of course. Anyway, COVID is not stopped. You corrupted my child. Rabbi Mendel, what are you teaching those people? You want to move on with Shepherd Israel. What are you teaching everybody? What are you doing? You're radical. You don't teach people things like that. Let them go to the doctor and let the doctor kill them. I mean, you have to face reality. I never face reality. That's my secret to success. Aaron Pesach, it's a pleasure to see you. Now, my secret to success is, my Rebbe, all my Rebbeim told me, avoid them. You have to go. I once went, and boom, my blood pressure was up like nobody's business. I called my Rebbe, what's going to be with me? So, of course, you go to the doctor, your blood pressure flies up. They're going to take your blood pressure as soon as you come to the doctor. You're nervous like crazy, and the doctor looks, and the nurse is thinking, and you're wondering, that's good. It's a simon type. It's a simon chassidus are coming up. Amen. Shidduchim for everybody. Let's go. Amen. Karmamish, the most impossible cases. Achosun, akala. Amen. And everyone's happy, and everyone's maskim, and it's adnei v'sim shana lechtig adaitis. Now, where am I up to? So, watch out with Mendel. He's dangerous. Watch out. I'm joking. They don't say that about me. Or at least they don't tell me. Who knows what they say? But I've had one or two guys telling me, no doctors, I didn't say that. It depends who. Okay, next. But avoid, you want your brush, I asked my Rebbe, my blood pressure was flying. Of course, you go to the doctor. Go home, and you'll be fine. You see, What are you looking for trouble for? Just look at his face. If he's a nervous-looking guy, if he's one of these serious-looking doctors who's a realistic type, who feels you must protect yourself and say exactly what's going on. You have to do things right. You can't be, this is irresponsible. I had a guy sitting right there, a bacha, who was out of yeshiva a year and a half because of his nervous disorder since he's a kid. He can't learn anymore. I said, how many? He went to 6 therapists. He's a 22-year-old guy, 6 therapists in his life. I said, you don't look sick to me. I brainwashed him. Misdiagnosis. He told me later that he never had such a yeshua like that until he went back to the therapist. Who convinced him, no, you are sick. This is irresponsible. You are sick. Anyway. We're starting with this. I had some good stuff to tell you. It's fine.